Hey guys, welcome to the first video of this channel, MCU, right? That's what we decided?
Yeah, we'll go with
MCU.
that.
Yeah. We'll dive into that in a second. But today, with our first video, we are going to be talking Fallout. We're going to be doing a review of Fallout, what we thought about it, what we liked, what we didn't like, what we thought worked, what we thought didn't work. That's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. I am Colby.
My name is Mickey, and we're really excited to talk about the show with y'all. I think this is going to be a really cool review because of the fact that not only are you getting two different unique perspectives, but because of the two people sitting here right now, one of us is a hardcore gamer boy, and the other does not really play many video games. I'll let you guess which is which. But yeah, I mean, he loves video games, and I love video games, I always have, but I'm not like he does. And so we're coming at this, we both watched this show from the perspective, him of a fan, I wouldn't say like a die-hard fan of the Fallout franchise, but a fan of the franchise. Talk about your experience with the games. What did you play? What do you...
the first one I played was actually Fallout 4. Mm-hmm. When it came out in 2015. It was either 15 or 16. I should probably know that. But I played it and I loved it. I mean, I love Fallout 4 a lot. It's my favorite. It still is. And then I went back and ended up playing. So the first two were basically, they were PC games.
Okay. And
they were basically the same format of like, they were the same format of those games that you have an aerial view of your character, and it was the two-dimensional. And you walk around the wasteland,
like a Pokemon
and you find
game,
different,
you're just walking.
very pixelated, obviously.
Gotcha.
But it was very unique because with some interactions, it would cut away from that and go to like a face-to-face with a character. And they would have like dialogue.
Gotcha.
And it was really cool.
Yeah,
obviously, I never played either of those. I've watched videos on it. But anyway, I went back and ended up playing Fallout New Vegas, which came out after Fallout 3.
Gotcha.
So in Fallout 3, you wake up in the vault and you're looking for your dad. And then in Fallout New Vegas, you basically do not give a frick. You're basically Ghoul. You are. You're basically Ghoul.
Yeah.
And you kind of bring your own sort of justice to people.
Gotcha.
In the wasteland.
Yeah.
In New Vegas.
Yeah.
And then 4, obviously, you don't know anything about 4, do you?
No, nothing about the story, no.
Okay, well, brief, I'm doing a playthrough on my channel, by the way.
Link in the description.
Link in the description. Anyway, you make it into a vault, and you find out that this vault is a vault that freezes people cryogenically.
Okay.
And halfway through your sleep, you wake up, you watch your son, and you watch your wife get murked. And your son gets snatched, right?
Yeah.
And then they like turn the chamber back on and put you back to sleep. And then you wake up and it's 200 years later. And so you're looking for your son.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so that's my relationship with the games.
Yeah, and so so he watched the show. Obviously, or if you don't know, Fallout. This show is an original story taking place in this world of Fallout, right? So the world isn't original, but the story is original. So obviously, anybody watching the show, whether you were a fan of the franchise or not, it was an original story for you. But one of us was a big fan of the franchise, so you'll get to see some thoughts from someone who knows a lot about the games and about this world already. And then one of us I knew nothing about. I mean, I knew the premise. I knew it's end of the world type. I get bunkers and shelters, the vaults or whatever. Like, I knew the premise, but I know nothing about Fallout. Never played a game, never watched a playthrough, nothing. And so you kind of get to see both sides of it, because we represent the two audiences that watched the show, right? There were fans of the franchise that watched the show, and then there were people who didn't know anything about the games that watched the show, and you kind of get to see both of some of our thoughts about it. So that should be cool to see. That may be some of the areas that we differ because of that. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, if you want to kick it off, just
I
talk about
have
a thing
a
or two.
question for you.
Okay.
I know you had heard good things about it from me and just online. Did you have any kind of expectations, like, at all?
I guess I had expectations because of what other people had told me, but I
I was just curious if you had like if you had a kind of thought in your head, you're like, okay, this is from a video game, may not be great. Because this is a different conversation, but we went and saw Uncharted together. Same thing. I love Uncharted games. I actually have more experience with Uncharted games than I do with Fallout. But anyway, he saw it and he thought it was fun. He liked it. But it's the same thing where it's like, it's a video game. It's from a video game. How well can it transfer?
Exactly. You kind of, like, there's almost this stipulation that, like, you don't expect much. You don't expect it to be phenomenal. So I don't know what I expected going in. I probably had... But the only expectations I had were because other people watched it. I'll tell you right now, it took me a while. Obviously, how long ago did Fallout come out now? A couple months? Maybe more?
A couple months ago.
A couple months. I mean, it's still fairly new. But, like, I just watched it a week or two ago. But I wouldn't have watched it if I didn't have friends tell me that I should have, just because I don't know anything about the Fallout games. And so when they make a show like that, obviously the assumption is, well, that's for Fallout fans. You know what I mean? I'm not going to watch it. I may enjoy it, but, like, I'm not going to know what's going on, stuff like that. And those are some of the things that I really liked about the show, was that it was able to bridge this gap between this world has such a rich, lore. There's so much that, like, it does enough to where fans of the game already know a lot of what's going on, but they also, like, I didn't know anything going in, and everything made sense to me in time. You know what I mean? Without them being too exposition heavy. That's where it gets tricky, is you don't want to get, when there's a concept or a creature or a place or something that they're trying to explain, oftentimes you'll see a show or a movie just have a 60-second scene where somebody is explaining it to somebody in the show who doesn't know what's going on, and that way the audience knows. And they didn't do much of that. It wasn't a lot of exposition. It lets you figure it out. It lets you find it out.
I mean, there's a little bit of that, and like, it's organic if it's there.
Exactly.
Like when in episode 2, when Lucy goes to Philly.
Yep.
She finds that she learns a lot.
Just
being there. Like, it wasn't shoved down our throats. Me as a follower of the games, I didn't feel like, they have to go over this or it won't make any sense. No, I mean, I felt like it was pretty organic.
And Lucy was, as far as the Wasteland goes, Lucy was me. Like, Lucy represented fans.
Was the characters in the games. That's exactly how they are.
Yes, exactly. She doesn't know what's going on. So, and I don't know, so, like, as she's figuring stuff out, I'm figuring stuff out. Like, the audience is figuring stuff out. So it was really unique. So, as far as expectations, it far exceeded my expectations. I'll tell you that right now. It far exceeded my expectations. I'll start by saying that I thoroughly enjoyed the show. I really, really enjoyed it. And a couple things that I wanted to point out, just kind of surface level before we get into kind of the thick of it as far as story goes. It was beautifully shot. I mean, it was so good. Beautiful. I was not expecting it to look as good as it did. And beautiful is not even the right word.
The cinematography was.
Yeah, it was it was great. It was like you feel like they created this world, they fleshed it out, and you feel like this is a real place, and this is like, you know what I mean? Like, you just feel it. You almost feel like you're there. So I thought it was so beautifully shot. I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but I know that the music.
The music.
I mean, the music was.
It's just true to the games.
I see. I don't know anything about the games, but, like, as far as it tonally, it was so perfect. Like, it was like the music was so, like, really set the tone for the vibe kind of the show and the world and this adventure and everything that they're going on. I thought the music was great, and then I also wanted to point out, I thought that, like, I loved what they did with, like, the violence and the gore. Yeah. Because they, like, leaned into it. It was very, like, video game-y. You know what I mean? Like, they leaned into it. Yeah. It was, like, so, like, unrealistic, but it was obvious they knew it was. Like, it wasn't like... It was, you know what I mean? Like, when your head's exploding and stuff, it's like, it reminded me of a video game. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm glad, I like how they're kind of leaning into that really heavily. You know what I mean? So those were a few things that I thought of just off the top. As far as just the season as a whole, the story that they told, what are some of your thoughts?
Well, speaking on, I'll just start with the first one. You said, talking about how good it was shot. Mm-hmm. I know, obviously, for like the creatures and stuff, they had to use VFX and CGI. Yeah. But like the knight armor, that was real.
Yeah.
They didn't CG any of that.
Yeah.
And most of the, I mean, obviously, Shady Sands, that was CG, but it's just like, but whenever they're wandering in the desert, so I don't know where I don't even remember know where they shot that, but that was real.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't just make a set for it. Like, they were shooting somewhere where it made up where it was. And even the surrounding area of Vault 4 in episode 6, like when they get banished, it's like, that's right, it's like a vault and it looks weathered and it's right beside Shady Sands.
Yeah. Do you know the ghouls, was that all practical? Or was any of that?
I know that Ghoul was practical.
Yeah.
I know that he was.
Yeah.
I watched a video of them putting on Walton Goggins.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like it. I mean, they obviously look really good, but it looks like it could be like it could easily just be made.
Yeah. Well, I know his is, but he's like one of the not co-stars.
Yeah. So it would surprise me. Yeah. Like episode 4, like with all the ghouls. Yeah. Some of that was CG. I'm not sure.
But I mean, all of them have the nose, the freaking Red Skull nose.
Yeah. They did look like a Red Skull.
I know.
Yeah.
MCU. And then what did you say next? You said the visuals, and then you said the music. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it fits perfectly. I mean, because it's supposed to be set in that era, kinda.
Yeah.
It's basically. Do you know anything about like why everything's like everything that it showed in the past? Like, it was obviously, that was in the year 2077.
Okay.
Yeah. But it looks like it's in the 50s or 60s.
Yeah, kind of. Well, they're like, it's weird. It's like,
it's retro, but it's...
there are also futuristic elements.
Yeah.
Technology. Yeah.
Okay, the reason why is because after Oppenheimer dropped the bombs in this universe, America and pretty much everyone else transitioned to nuclear energy versus combustion engines.
Okay.
And so everything is nuclear.
Okay.
And basically they didn't have a reason to keep updating stuff. Because nuclear energy is so refined and it's so... They didn't have a reason to keep upgrading new car models. They didn't have any... And so that's what the fusion cores... That's nuclear energy.
Yeah.
That's what the Codsworth ran off. That's what the Mr. Gutsy ran off of. All of them run off that. And so it's like, why update it if it all works?
Yeah, makes sense.
And so because of that, the music never changed in that universe.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that music remained the same. And so it's real. And like in the games with your Pip-Boy, you can activate the radio and it plays those music. That music.
Gotcha. That's cool.
So people that have spent time exploring the wasteland can play those songs, but then they also heard them in the show. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah, that is cool. It's really, really cool.
And I'm gonna follow up by saying I loved the show. I really did. I thought it was great. I was very weary. I was weary just because, I was alright with Uncharted. I thought it was alright. I didn't love it. I thought it was fun, but I would have preferred. I don't know. It's kind of hard to gauge because there are a lot of aspects of the Uncharted games where Nathan Drake is silly, and he's just kind of the goofy Tom Holland. And I get that in that movie, he was younger.
Yeah.
And so you'll have that, but the game's become a lot more serious, and the stakes are so much higher.
Yeah.
And so, like, if they continue to go down that story and they get to that point, that I will look back on the first movie more fondly.
Yeah.
But anyway, that and then The Last of Us, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
We want to do a video talking about the comparisons.
Yeah.
But then you have the Halo on Paramount Plus that has absolutely bombed.
Yeah.
And it's just not good at all.
Yeah.
And those aren't the only adaptations recently. I mean, it's just I guess they are recently the only ones. But there's other ones. But I was very impressed. I was very happy with it.
Yeah. I mean, I have very few bad things to say. One of the things that I loved the most about just the concept of the show and this world that they built, and obviously the show doesn't get credit for the world that it built as much. The show gets credit for bringing that world to life, but that is not an original world, obviously. But this idea, this apocalyptic, premise is obviously a common premise in movie and TVs and video games. But oftentimes, normally, when you have something set in the future, like, it's either going to be like there's some kind of event happens that a world-shattering event, an apocalyptic event. Either or most of the time, what you see is the world and humanity regress drastically, right? They go back to, it feels like time moves back 1,000 years as far as civilization and humanity and how everything works. And there are aspects of that in Fallout, absolutely, because of the apocalypse. But like I said, it's also kind of futuristic in a weird way. It's this weird combination that I've never seen. I've never seen anything like. I've never seen these elements combined, where it's like it's apocalyptic, end of the world, every man for himself, but it's also really futuristic in a sense of the word.
And that's because of the nuclear energy.
Yes.
It's so crazy how they intertwined it, but nuclear energy is so, like I said, refined and so pure that it lasts.
Yeah.
And so it's like you still have it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you have the dwindling of the fusion cores and the fusion cells and all that. So that's stuff with the game and stuff. But like, I get what you're saying. I never really thought about that because I played the games.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like more normal to you. It was extremely unique.
Yeah.
Like that's what made the world feel so, that's what I felt made the world so unique, was those two elements, putting them together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There are futuristic elements, but there are also these apocalyptic end of the world elements. I've never seen them combined, like in anything. So that was completely unique to me, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was just, I was always, I was trying to piece together, like, how is it, you know what I mean? And then, obviously you've helped explain a lot. Yeah. As you can tell, we haven't talked a ton about the show since we watched it. We wanted to wait until we were on camera. Yeah. So that does make a lot of sense. And yeah, I mean, it's so cool. I mean, what else do you have? I have some notes on my phone. What else you got?
Well, I wanted to just hit a head-on tackle. Normally we would probably do this at the end, but what would you rate it out of 10?
Let's wait till the end. Let's wait till the end.
Wait till the end? Okay.
Let's see a couple things that I've written down. I wrote I thought that the storytelling was absolutely masterful. I mean, it was great. I thought that, you assume after that first episode, the assumption is you're going to have these 3 storylines with your 3 leads.
Yeah.
And you're going to be watching them individually, and they're going to converge at some point later on. That's really not what they ended up doing. They converged to episode 2. So and we'll talk more about some of this in when we do we're going to do a video of us ranking all the episodes, our favorite episodes, all of them 8 to 1. But I thought the way they told the story, I thought it was crazy how going into the last episode, there's so much mystery. You have so many questions, so many questions, and not only do they answer all the questions, but all of the answers that you needed converge at the end, and you realize it's all connected. You know what I mean? And it kind of bring it all together. I thought the finale was amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it was great, which is refreshing because surprisingly, it is hard. We've experienced as fans of the MCU specifically. I'm wary oftentimes of a short season finale,
and it's sticking the landing.
It feels rushed so often, and it didn't. I mean, it was great.
Well, to that, this was 8 episodes, not 6.
Yes, absolutely, and they were longer.
I mean, there were a couple episodes that were over an hour.
Yeah.
I think the first one was an hour.
Hour 15, hour 15. Obviously, probably closer to hour 10.
With the credits, but I mean... But yeah, no, we're referring to the 6-episode format that Marvel
the MCU has just mastered.
Mastered so much.
Loki mastered it, but that's about it.
Yeah. and now AMC with the Walking Dead universe is on.
It's just I just don't.
We have a lot to say about that, but anyway, it was kind of polarizing for me.
Mm-hmm.
The way that the season wrapped up, because it tied up loose ends but at the same time felt like it left even more untied.
That was one of the only, and we did talk about this briefly off the camera, but that was one of the only really critical things I have to say about this season of television.
I'm not even necessarily saying it as a negative.
Yeah,
I'm just
polarizing is a good word for it.
Yeah, because like I've seen it done bad. I don't know if I've seen it done necessarily better, but I've seen it done a lot worse.
I think there felt like, in reality, and I'll explain, it felt to me, I felt very little resolution by the end of the season.
Yeah.
Right? Now, there were many questions answered,
yes.
But as far as the journey they're going on, the adventure they're going on, this felt like a mid-season finale.
It did.
Right? It felt like the first half of a season rather than an entire, you know what I mean?
And if they're going for 2 seasons, I don't know how many seasons they're going for.
Yeah.
I know they've already filmed season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if that means that they filmed it all at the same time and decided to make it 2 seasons. Or I don't know what it means. I haven't really dove into that. But if it is 2 seasons and this feels like a mid-season finale, then if the second season lands and it's like a second half to the part like show.
Yeah, like Loki.
Yeah,
like that kind of thing where it's like you have you drop it in 2 seasons, but like you go back and watch it now and it's one whole complete story.
Yeah,
and it's like so good. Like if it ends up being that kind of thing, then 100% I'll have no issues.
No
with it,
issues
really,
with
as far
it
as
at all.
the finale.
And honestly, even if they do 3 seasons, then it still feels like this was a third of the story.
Yeah.
Versus if into season 2, it kind of like slows down majorly, and it's like, okay, we could have made the first season 12 episodes and told it in 1 season. It's like we obviously can't. So I don't want to hate on it for that.
No, absolutely.
For that. But it's there.
Yeah, and I just think there is an aspect where, like, you know, you have this season finale where you find out all these things, you have all these questions answered, but then nothing happens. You get answers, and then it's like, but the adventure continues because you know you find like it feels almost like how shows often do it. You know, is at the end of the episode before the finale, you'll have a big reveal, right? So that's kind of what it felt like. It kind of felt like that episode before the finale where, oh wow, Lucy's dad is the bad guy, and then you know, cut to the credits, and then in the finale you have it's all resolved, and you know what I mean, like that. It feels like the traditional formula. Like Colby said, I'm not necessarily upset that it's not the traditional formula. It just was. I did have some. I guess I wasn't upset about it. I wouldn't say, but I did. That is one of the only things that if I have to be critical about the show, I would say to critique it.
And I just wanted to go.
And it's not even really, like you said, it's not even really a critique because they did it on purpose. Like they know what they're doing. It's not like something they did wrong. Like they did it intentionally, obviously.
Now I will be annoyed if I've seen shows do this before where they'll leave a big cliffhanger on something and then at the start of the next season they handle it in like 10 minutes. Yeah. Which I don't think that's going to happen because of Hank. Mm-hmm. I don't think that you can fix that in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I agree.
Because obviously he went... Okay, the city... Do you know where the city he flew to was? It was New Vegas.
New Vegas, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah.
And so it's like, obviously, our gang of people, not heroes, our gang of people are going to head towards New Vegas, I imagine. Uh-huh. And I don't know how that's going to happen, but it can't happen in the first...
Which, is that exciting for you as a fan?
I'm interested.
Interested?
Yeah. I'm not really weary of it.
Yeah.
I'm just.
It's hard to be after this season. Yeah. I mean, you saw what they can do. I mean, it was great, and I'll say this. You know, obviously, I'm excited for season 2, but this, like I said, this world, this lore, I could watch a stupid amount of crap set in this world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they're ever going to do more Fallout projects, whether it be shows, whether it be movies, after this, you know, base show. Yeah. But like this is just a world after this very first season. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. When you have, like, this isn't an adaptation of a story. Yeah. This is an adaptation of a lore, of a world, and so you can create any original stories and just set it in this world. So like when you can do that, like bro, I could watch so much crap set in this world because I'm just so fascinated by it.
And to my knowledge, they have kept up with it being canon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like they didn't break any rules.
Yes.
Any rules.
Gotcha, yeah.
And to my knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
now there may be a few things, but there's also things with the Fallout games that we don't know. You know what I mean? Like there's things that, the vice president of Bethesda, Todd is his name.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember his last name. Anyway, there's stuff that he's like cleared up before because people were saying that it wasn't accurate to other games.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, it is. Look here.
Yeah,
Look at
yeah,
the timeline
yeah.
here, and
That's
it's
cool,
like,
that's cool.
and so if they keep up with it being canon, which I don't think it's not that hard to do.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of loosey goosey anyway. Like, this is one of the loose ends is Moldaver. How the frick is she still alive?
Yeah, that was one of the biggest questions: is who it.
I have a conspiracy.
Uh-huh.
We may not want to talk about it right now.
Yeah, let's not get into it.
Okay, yeah. But anyway, back to saying that, yeah, they could if they kept up with the canon aspect, they could easily make franchise this.
Yeah.
On the screen instead
Yeah.
of just in games.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I like I said, I love this world because the uniqueness to me is because I was trying to think. You know, I was sitting there thinking on about halfway through the show. I'm like, why is this? What makes this so different from everything I've
It's
seen
like you're
before?
drawn to.
And it was that's what I realized. It was the combination of these apocalyptic and these futuristic aspects, and I was like, that's the unique. That's what I've never seen before. That's what sets this apart from anything else.
And it's just the unknown. You don't know what the radioactive effects have had.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
And so
exactly.
it's like everything feels kind of new.
Yeah.
Because it's not all the same, and that's the same with the games.
Uh-huh.
No encounter is the exact same. And so that's another thing where it's easy to obtain the canon because, I mean, some wild stuff has happened in the games, and wild stuff can happen in the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me bring up one other thing, and then I'll let you close it out if you have anything else you want to close with. Okay. The last thing I wanted to mention that I loved, I hesitate to say my favorite aspect. I loved the almost, I don't even know what you call it, the almost like political thriller side of it that they showed in and through the flashbacks mostly.
Okay, yeah.
I loved this. Just it makes you think like this idea of who's really in charge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's calling the shots? Who's pulling the strings? And it really is this ethical dilemma of a company that is profiting off of the end of the world. Like they have to sell vaults, and so at the very least, people have to be scared of the end of the world in order to buy their product. At the very least, at the very most, they obviously just
invoke the end
the end of the world, so that they literally, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
their invocation of the end of the world was more of an invocation of their strategy of taking over the world than their business model. That obviously, blew way out of proportion. But
blew way out of.
Yeah. But like there was, I loved episode 6, one of my favorite episodes because there's just tons of flashbacks in that episode. That was when like the two. Pretty much what's going on in that episode is when Lucy and Maximus are in Vault 4.
Yeah.
And then we see all these flashbacks from Cooper and stuff.
Oh,
and
it's
a great episode.
So
and I love the conversation that Cooper has. He's sitting at the bar with that Native American guy. I can't remember his name, but I've seen him in other stuff.
Yeah.
He's in Reservation Dogs, I know. But he has that conversation with him. And there's this idea that guys like him, they're communists, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't go, and because Vault-Tec is apparently American. Vault-Tec is patriotic. Vault-Tec is we're trying to save, we're trying, or whatever. And he talks, he has this line, I don't remember exactly what he says, but he's, they've been in cowboy movies, and he's like, at a certain point, who's in charge, the sheriff or the cattle ranchers.
Yeah.
It's like there's a certain point in time where when they control the economy, you're in charge. If you control the economy, you're in charge.
Yeah.
Because money's everything in this world today. And so he's like, the cattle ranchers are in charge, Coop. You know what I mean? Like the Vault-Tec has, and he explains, he's like, Vault-Tec is a multi-trillion-dollar company.
Yeah.
The government has no money because we've been in war for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
They're broke. He was like, Vault-Tec has whatever the government needs, so the government's going to do whatever Vault-Tec tells them to do.
That's why Vault-Tec has so much merchandise and propaganda.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it really does, it makes sense why, because you get all these hints at the first half of the show that the ghoul hates these vaults.
Yeah.
You don't really know why. Your assumption is probably that he's just resentful because he didn't get in one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you obviously come to find out, no, like these were the evil people. Obviously, you find out all this crazy stuff in the finale.
They caused this.
Yeah,
They
literally.
caused this,
And so I love that side of it. I just love when shows make you think in that way. These kind of ethical dilemmas of, you know, and that was kind of Cooper's mindset in the flashbacks was like, it's capitalism, man. They're a business. They're a company. They can do whatever. He even said that when he went to that meeting with Moldaver was the head of the meeting or whatever, and she's like, you know, yeah, but you can make a lot of money on the end of the world, and he's like, that's capitalism.
Yeah.
It's a business. They can do whatever they want. It's freedom. It's the American dream. They can make money. And it's like, yes, but to what extent?
Yeah.
To what extent, really?
It's not justified.
Exactly. So I love that. That always makes me think. And I also loved the aspect, another kind of ethical, moral, you know, struggle that you have with these ghouls. And this is seen in a lot of different shows and movies and things like that, is, you know, you have this kind of, I love this idea when you have a human who can turn into a monster.
Yeah.
Because then you have this dilemma where it's like, you know, it isn't them anymore, but at the same time, if you kill that thing, you are killing them. You know what I mean? So it's like, how do you weigh it? You know, that's an age-old thing. That's not anything new. Well, I mean, that's in the Quarry. You know what I mean? You see that in the Quarry, that game that he's playing right now on his channel, link in the description. And, but like, you have this idea where it's like, it's a monster. That's not our friend anymore. Yeah. But at the same time, if you kill that monster, your friend's dead. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's this struggle between, you know, like, what do you do? You know, just, I love when shows incorporate these things that you know, they kind of go under the surface a lot of the time. If you're just watching stuff for fun and for entertainment, you don't notice it a lot of the time. Obviously, we tend to think probably more than we should about most things we watch. That's why we decided to do this. But like, I love those aspects of it that really make you. I love when you can see both sides. Yeah. You don't agree with both sides, but you can see it. I understand where both sides are coming from. I really do. I get it. You know what I mean? So just fascinating. I love that part of it. You got anything else? Anything else you want to add? I mean, that was a lot. I mean, we talked about.
Yeah, I mean, we covered pretty. They really leaned. You wouldn't know this, but they heavily leaned into the Brotherhood of Steel.
Really?
They were not that big. I mean, it was somewhat of a deal in the fourth game. They were not that big of a deal. Yeah. Like, they got, I've seen a lot of comments online that they got heavily glazed. Yeah. And I would agree almost, where it's like, it felt a little bit like, it almost felt like it was a cult almost. Yeah. It was like a cult, like the way they brand, the way that they have all these rules, it's like, I thought that was interesting. And I don't think it's bad. No, absolutely. It did throw me off a little bit. And you also kind of, we don't know this, but I kind of got the implication that a lot of their recruits are like Maximus wanted to join the Brotherhood of Steel because he got saved. Yeah, because his hero when he was a kid was this dude in this armor that saved him. Whoever it was. And so there's almost this. We don't know this because we don't know where the other people that we knew in the Brotherhood, so we don't know where they came from. But you do kind of get this implication that a lot of their recruits may be like people that they save, that then look up to them, and then they can then use them and manipulate them. They kind of rope them in. Yeah. Yeah. You know, this weird, So no, I just wanted to bring that up because, like, it was not that serious. Like, it really wasn't. I mean, it was interesting. I didn't dislike it because of it. I thought they threw me off. Yeah. It's like, holy frick, we're really leaning into this. Yeah. And I mean, they did it. They didn't do it bad. They did it well. They created that atmosphere. Like, I felt like I felt the way that Maximus felt. Mm-hmm. Like I could sympathize with him. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it was great. We obviously both thoroughly enjoyed it. There was very little negative in here, which, like, obviously most of you watching this probably don't know us personally. That's rare. Yeah. I mean, we're very critical. Especially we tend to be. Yeah, yeah. Well, No, you're right. You're right. Well, we have our own. No. I was gonna say we have our own things that we value. More like, I'm a big person on consistency. Mm-hmm. I try to break things down and say, that's inconsistent. That's a plot hole. And that is why, to your point, that's why a video game adaptation from a franchise that you like and you have played, like, hypothetically, that would be hard. It has to do a really good job to please you. Yeah. Because you care about the consistency. Someone like me, I don't even know. I have nothing to compare it to. Yeah.
So that's not something that's going to affect me as much. But something like this, like if there were things about this show that were inconsistent to the games, Fallout 4, the games that you've played, it would probably like really rub you the wrong way.
Well, there were so many little winks. Like in episode 2, or I don't know if that's the end of episode 2 or beginning of episode 3. It's after Ghoul had stabbed Dogmeat.
Okay.
And then he goes up and stim packs Dogmeat.
Yeah.
That's in the games.
Yeah.
So Dogmeat can be your like side person that helps you. When he gets hurt in the games, you have to walk up and stim pack him for it to like get him back.
Yeah.
And so it was such a little tip of the hat to the games. And it's just like so many little things.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things. The Mr. Gutsies, like the you know what I'm talking about when I say yeah, in the episode 4, I think. That was episode 4. And then Codsworth.
Yep.
And so another funny thing is that scene where in the flashback you meet the guy who does Codsworth.
Yeah.
He does Codsworth in Fallout 4.
Like the same voice.
Guy.
Oh, that's
guy.
cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. Little things like that. It's just so cool.
Yeah.
They really, like, honestly, this show is a big fan service.
Yeah.
Almost without not even trying. It's a fan service because of the consistency.
Yeah, which is what you have to do. Because here's the thing. This is the whole point.
Yeah.
The whole premise, this is the last thing I'll say. The Fallout 2, if you do a show based on a video game, and you don't appease your video game audience, you've lost. That's why Halo lost.
Yeah.
I know people who watched Halo and liked it because they don't love the Halo games.
Yeah.
So like the show's good, but fans of Halo didn't like it. And that's the problem, because what happens is you have a game, you have a show or a movie based off a video game. Who are the first people that are going to go see it?
Yeah.
Fans of the game, right? That's why you have this franchise already. You have fans. They're going to go watch it. And then, when you do it well, you have those fans come and tell people like me, hey, you need to watch Fallout. Yeah. It's so good. And you can watch it. You don't have to be a fan of the game. It's an original story. Like, you can watch it. You can enjoy it. You know what I mean? And so, that's one of the most impressive things to me is how much, like you said, how well they did at appeasing and playing to the strengths of their fandom, while also making it accessible to people like me at the same time in 8 episodes. It's just
so good.
There's so many little things I'm sure that are just unnoticeable in the writing, in the directing, and in the way they shot everything, things like that allow people like me to piece stuff together. I'm piecing it together. I'm not even realizing I'm piecing it together. Stuff like, man, oh, it was so good. Let's get to the rating. You ready to rate it? How do you want to rate it?
Are we doing out of 10?
Let's do like a 100. No, let's do out of 10. It's easier. Let's do out of 10. But we'll do like a. I'm trying to.
Or
think.
you're thinking like tiers?
No, yeah, I'm trying to.
Like.
Do you want to? We can do either out of 10. We can do like a letterboxed ranking, which is like out of 5 stars, 0 to 5 stars, and you can do half stars. So that's pretty much the same as 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Or we can do 1 to 10 with 0.5s.
I was gonna do 1 to 10 with 0.5s.
Okay. We'll do 1 to 10 with 0.5s then.
Okay.
All right, you wanna go?
Yeah, I'll go.
All right, go now.
All right.
And we're rating this at it's hard. It's weird when because you're rating it as
a
season of television. Yeah, not necessarily a show because it's not over.
Yeah.
So you're rating it as a single season of television.
So, I'm giving it an 8.5.
Wow.
Now, did you know that IGN gave it a 9?
Wow.
They gave it a 9.
I did not know that. Wow.
Like a week after it came, like the week after it came out, they were doing, and maybe in the week it came out because they were doing premieres on the rock. And they were talking to the cast, and like they talked to Todd, I can't remember his last name. They were like, "Are you aware that we gave it a 9?" And he's like, "What?" I said, "What? We gave it a 9?" But he's taking any win he can get because Fallout 76 completely flopped.
Yeah, I heard it.
But anyway, so yeah, I'll give it an 8.5.
Okay, I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna give it an 8, which is great. Obviously, I'm going to. It can change depending on season 2.
Based on what follows.
Right?
Yeah.
And I know you say, well, you just said it's based on this season of television, so how is that fair? But dude, like, come on, it's all, you know what I mean? You have to see where it's going, you have to see what it's doing. So I think it absolutely could be. I don't think I could see it. I could see it going as high as maybe a 9. Maybe I could definitely see it go 8.5 if season 2
Yeah.
picks up where it left off and sticks the landing. I think it will end up at 8.5 for me. I'm gonna say 8 right now. It could drop down maybe half a point if something happens in season 2 that doesn't. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna go 8. So we got an 8 from me, an 8.5 from Colby. A phenomenal season of television, a phenomenal
It was really
show.
good.
This episode, this video was longer than I thought it was going to be, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I'm glad we had this conversation.
Yeah.
Let us know down below what you thought of it. We
Yeah.
want to hear y'all's thoughts. We are going to be uploading in the following weeks. Right now, we're planning on posting 1 video a week, just because we don't have a ton of time. We have a lot of other things going on in our lives. We don't get paid to do this, obviously.
Yeah, we both have separate channels of our own.
Yeah. Exactly. So those links will be down in the description. You can check that out.
I was pointing to you to say yours.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, well, link will be down in the description. You can check it out. But we are going to be uploading other Fallout-related videos. We're going to upload a video of our top 5 characters in the show. We're going to upload a video, like I said, of the episodes ranked, all 8 episodes ranked. And then we're going to upload a couple other episodes. One, we're going to be just talking about video game adaptations in general, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing for the industry. And then we're going to have a video where Colby's going to do most of the talking, and he is going to tell y'all, Hardcore Gamer Boy, is going to give y'all a few games that he would love to see adapted into either a TV show or movie, and why. So stick around. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more of those videos. And yeah, I think that's all we got.
Yeah.
Deuces.
Peace out.